Welcome to About Mansfield. This is your audio newspaper. I'm Steve Casillo, broadcasting from the Somark Studios, along with the About Mansfield news team. Colleen Daniels, she's out there in Studio West. This is the November 13th, 2024, 248th edition. Coming up, it's Mansfield News, Talk, and Information.
And a little later in the episode, you will have a chance to win a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice with our Mansfield Trivia Question, courtesy of Joe Jenkins Insurance.
Let's take a look at the stories we're covering this week. Mansfield voters have spoken on Proposition A. Mansfield ISD first ever Innovation Expo is looking for student submissions. And in sports, it's playoff time in MISD football. And it's a wrap on girls volleyball.
And in the talk segment, Steve talks in studio with Tim and Wylie Brys, a local author who developed a book based on his 4-year-old son's Guinness Record discovery. We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. This is About Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool Hand, Cool Hand, Cool Hand, where excellence is still cool.
Looking for luxury living with the feel of a resort? Discover Mason & Mill, the newest gem in apartment living. With stunning resort-style amenities, Mason & Mill redefines what it means to call a place home. Ask about our 8 weeks free special. Plus, don't miss out on the $1,000 resident referral program. When you love where you live, it's worth sharing. Managed by Willow Bridge Property Company, locally rooted and nationally respected since 1965. Mason & Mill, we create places you'll want to call home. Log on today at livemasonandmill.com. That's livemasonandmill.com.
Navigating the ever-changing real estate market can be exhausting. At the Hornburg Real Estate Group at One West, our team of experts help make the most of your home selling goals. From the ability to bring buyers multiple cash offers, offer different ways to sell your home, and even offer pay-at-close vendors, we help you get top dollar. We have a robust marketing strategy to ensure you always have options to get your home sold in the way that makes the most sense for you. Each agent at the Hornburg Real Estate Group has been expertly trained and has years of experience behind them. Find out why our clients consistently rate us 5 stars year after year. Call or text us at 817-264-7087. Again, that's 817-264-7087. Or visit us online at homesbyhrg.com.
Hi, I'm Olympic athlete Joe Brown, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield. This portion of the news is brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield. Speaking of Mansfield, voters spoke loudly at last week's polls, not only in the race for president, but also in the local Proposition A. 65% of those who cast their ballot here in Mansfield agreed it's time the city allow over-the-counter retail alcohol sales. Leading up to the elections, the City Council passed an ordinance on October 14th to fine-tune the definition of a package store, a retail outlet licensed by the TABC to sell beer, wine, or liquor in sealed containers for off-premise consumption. Under the new ordinance, Mansfield's package stores must have at least 25,000 square feet of floor space, and drive-through or window pickup service will not be permitted. The Restaurant and Beverage Alliance of Texas had promoted on social media that a Total Wine and More store could open in Mansfield if the proposition passed. Well, it passed. However, there is currently no confirmation on a timeline for when a Total Wine will be opening within the city. Mansfield ISD will host its inaugural Innovation Expo on Saturday, March 1st, 2025 at the Center for Performing Arts on Debbie Lane. Now, we realize that March 2025 is quite a long ways off, but the submission deadline is approaching. The Innovation Expo will showcase student talent with participants from pre-K through 12th grade, presenting digital projects that explore dynamic storytelling, digital masterpieces, smart solutions, and/or community innovations. The rules to submit a project are fairly simple. Students may submit as an individual or part of a group, but the group cannot be larger than 4 MISD students. Students are limited to only one project per category. Students may not submit the same project to more than one category, and the theme of this year's expo is Future Forward. A review committee will select 3 finalists per category and per grade group, with the winners announced during an awards ceremony at the event. The expo aims to celebrate student creativity and reflects Mansfield ISD's commitment to building a collaborative and forward-thinking learning environment. The expo will run again on Saturday, March 1st, 2025, from 9 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon as a family-friendly, interactive event with activities for all ages. For more information, we've posted a link on our website, aboutmansfield.com. Just click on the links tab. The final week in the high school football season is in the books. We're talking playoffs because sports is next.
Are you ready to create unforgettable memories? Picture this: an enchanting event venue nestled amidst breathtaking landscapes with panoramic views right here in Mansfield. The Grandview Event Center is the perfect setting to bring your vision to life. From intimate gatherings to large-scale extravaganzas, the Grandview has flexible spaces to accommodate any occasion, be it a wedding reception, corporate Christmas party, or community gathering. Book your next unforgettable experience at thegrandviewmansfield.com. That's thegrandviewmansfield.com. The Grandview Event Center, where memories are made and dreams become reality. Book your event today.
Hey, it's Steve Casillo, and are you ready to make your voice heard? Want to bring out your ideas to life through captivating conversations and engaging visuals? Look no further than Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio, your one-stop destination for award-winning audio and video podcast recording. Equipped with cutting-edge microphones, crystal clear audio recording, and high-definition cameras, we're here to turn your ideas into engrossing content. But it's not just about the equipment. We're dedicated to bringing out the best in your content. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to elevate your podcasting game. We'll even help you with intro music, transitions, voiceover, and that professional polish that sets your podcast apart. So whether you're into interviews, storytelling, or simply sharing your expertise, Podcast Mansfield can help bring your podcasting dreams to life. Visit podcastmansfield.com. Podcast Mansfield, where creating your podcast masterpiece has never been easier.
At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we've been caring for our home team for over 15 years. Today, you'll find award-winning physicians on the medical staff, advanced neurosurgery, a level 3 trauma center, critical care for newborns, and comprehensive orthopedic care. Methodist Mansfield, delivering the care our friends, neighbors, and home team depend on. That's community, and why so many people trust Methodist.
In sports, your Mansfield Tigers closed out the regular season with a homecoming win over the Weatherford Kangaroos 49-34 Friday night. The Tigers finished the season with an 8-2 record overall, placing third in their division, and are headed to the first round of the playoffs. Timberview and Legacy are also playoff bound. The Wolves ended their season with a 6-4 overall record in their 5A division, while Legacy posted a 4th place overall record with 3-7. The playoff matches for this Friday are your Mansfield Tigers travel to Euless Trinity, and Legacy will go head-to-head with Southlake Carroll. Those games kick off at 7 p.m. Timberview plays at Lovejoy, and that kickoff is at 7:30. Let's check the highs and the lows from last week from around the state. The highest scoring game, Concordia ousted Austin Veritas 90-44. The lowest scoring game in the state. There were 2 of them. St. Mary's Hall against St. Augustine and Rice against Dallas Gateway. Both posted scores of 2-0. The biggest goose egg in the state, Pflugerville routed Bastrop Cedar Creek 77-0. Speaking of the end of the season, MISD girls volleyball season wrapped up Friday afternoon as the Lake Ridge Lady Eagles were defeated by El Paso Eastlake 3-0 in the area round of the UIL playoffs. The Lady Eagles had advanced to the area round by defeating VR Eaton 3-2 earlier in the week in the by-district round. Lakeridge finished the season with an impressive 38-10 record, ranking 53rd in the state among 1,500 girls teams. Congratulations to the Lady Eagles. If you have a comment about the show, the news, whatever's on your mind locally, the good, the bad, the ugly, think of it as your audio letter to the editor. You can reach us by voicemail at 817-435-2938. Again, that's 817-435-2938. This coming Sunday, November 17th, is National Homemade Bread Day. You know, bread is on a roll, and folks across the country are loafing around with it. From the slow and steady rise of yeast bread to the quick gratification of muffins and biscuits, bakers are proving there's more than one way to make dough. In kitchens everywhere, people are finding that kneading bread is truly the yeast they can do to bring friends and family together. Making up some donuts, pretzels, or quick breads, it's a recipe for a little extra dough light with a side of laughter. Bread has been long symbolic, from daily loaves to breaking bread in unity. It's the staff of life, our daily bread and butter, and it's not just for the upper crust. Even when we're rolling in the dough, we know it can get messy, so, just let it rise. At the end of the day, we're grateful for the buns, rolls, and crumbs that keep our lives well bred. So this coming Sunday, why not make some homemade bread?
Coming up after the break, we turn the page to the features section.
Did you get that, Rye?
Today, we're diving into a crucial topic, diabetes. I'm Angel Biasatti, and we'll be talking about it next in Methodist Mansfield News to Know.
Are home buying grants real? I'm Angela Hornburg, and we'll talk about it in the Mansfield Real Estate Update.
In this week's Cocktail of the Week, we'll be stirring up a drink that's hotter than political debate at the family dinner table and sweeter than your aunt's secret recipe pumpkin pie.
We are Mansfield's only source for news, talk, and information. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
This portion of the news was brought to you by the Grandview Event Center in Mansfield.
Hey there, it's Luke from Cool Hand Electric. Are you tired of dealing with plugs or lights that just won't cooperate? Well, don't fret. Give us a call. Worried about power outages or surges damaging your precious electronics? We've got you covered. Whether it's a whole house generator or surge protection, our solution-oriented Cool Hands are ready to tailor the perfect option that suits your needs and budget. At Cool Hand Electric, excellence is still cool.
Cool hand, cool hand, cool hand, where excellence is still cool.
Looking for luxury living with the feel of a resort? Discover Mason & Mill, the newest gem in apartment living. With stunning resort-style amenities, Mason & Mill redefines what it means to call a place home. Ask about our 8 weeks free special. Plus, don't miss out on the $1,000 resident referral program. When you love where you live, it's worth sharing. Managed by Willow Bridge Property Company, locally rooted and nationally respected since 1965. Mason & Mill, we create places you'll want to call home. Log on today at livemasonandmill.com. That's livemasonandmill.com.
Congratulations to Kimberly McDonald, who knew that the current chief of police for the Mansfield Police Department is Tracy Aaron.
I'm Mansfield Police Chief Tracy Aaron, and you are listening to About Mansfield.
When we come back, this week's trivia question. I'm Colleen Daniel, and this is About Mansfield.
Hi, this is Joe Jenkins with Joe Jenkins Farmers Insurance, specializing in auto, home, commercial, and life insurance. I was born and raised here in Mansfield, Texas. We're active in the community, and Mansfield's a town we really care about. Our office has over 30 years' experience in the insurance industry, and we're passionate about what we do and about customer service. For a free quote, please visit our website at joejenkinsinsurance.com or give us a call at 817-472-6058. Once again, that website is joejenkinsinsurance.com.
It's time right now for the highly coveted, wildly popular About Mansfield Trivia Question. If you are the first person to email the correct answer to trivia at aboutmansfield.com. You will receive a $25 gift card to a Mansfield restaurant of your choice. It's brought to you by Joe Jenkins Insurance. Whether you're looking for homeowners, auto, commercial, or any other type of insurance, Joe has helped Mansfield area residents understand the insurance coverage that best fit their needs since 2010. You can find him on the internet at joejenkinsinsurance.com. I've mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. Not everybody wins on a Wednesday. So if you're listening on Thursday, Friday, or, whenever, give it a shot. You may be taking home a $25 restaurant gift card. Colleen, it's your turn.
Well, Steve, last week's trivia question referred to our current chief of police. This week's trivia question is, who was Mansfield's first police chief? Email your answer to trivia@aboutmansfield.com. Again, who was the first chief of police to serve the city of Mansfield? Good luck, and thanks to Joe Jenkins Insurance for the gift card.
Hi, I'm Mansfield ISD Chief of Police, Greg Mentor, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to About Mansfield, your audio newspaper. Let's open up the features section. Angel Biasatti is here to talk about the ins and outs of type 2 diabetes in Methodist Mansfield News to Know. Angel?
Diabetes is a chronic condition that affects how your body turns food into energy. When you have diabetes, your body either doesn't make enough insulin or can't use the insulin it makes as well as it should. This leads to too much blood sugar or glucose staying in your bloodstream, which can cause serious health problems over time. Pat Bailey-Gray, diabetes care and education specialist. What are the 3 types of diabetes?
The 3 types of diabetes are type 1, type 2, and gestational. Type 1 is often diagnosed in children and young adults, and it is a condition where the body doesn't produce insulin. Type 2 is the most common form and occurs when the body becomes resistant to insulin or doesn't make enough. And then gestational diabetes happens during pregnancy and usually goes away after giving birth, but it increases the mother's risk for developing type 2 diabetes later in life.
I've heard many talk about prediabetes. What is it?
Prediabetes is a health condition where blood sugar levels are higher than normal, but not high enough yet to be diagnosed as type 2 diabetes. And according to the CDC, approximately 98 million American adults, more than 1 in 3, have prediabetes. Of those with prediabetes, more than 84% don't know they have it. Early detection and lifestyle changes can significantly reduce the risk of progressing to type 2 diabetes. It is essential to get regular checkups and be aware of the risk factors, which include being overweight, being 45 years or older, or having a family history of type 2 diabetes, and being physically inactive.
Now let's talk about food. One of the most impactful aspects of managing or preventing diabetes is food. Let's discuss healthy eating.
Healthy eating is crucial, and I have some great ideas for food choices that can help you maintain stable blood sugar level. Number 1, leafy greens. These are vegetables that are like spinach, kale, and broccoli, and are low in calories and carbohydrates and high in vitamins and minerals. They are also rich in fiber, which can help regulate blood sugars. Number 2, whole grains. Choose whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, oats over refined grains. These contain more fiber and nutrients and have a lower glycemic index, which help manage blood sugar levels. Number 3, lean protein. Incorporate some lean proteins such as chicken, turkey, tofu, and legumes. These can help you feel full and satisfied without causing spikes in your blood sugar. Number 4, healthy fats. Food like avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oil produce healthy fats that can help manage blood sugar level. Remember to consume these in moderation. Number 5, berries. Berries are packed with antioxidants, vitamins, and fiber while being relatively low in sugar compared to other fruits. Blueberries, strawberries, and raspberry makes excellent snacks or additions to meals. And number 6 is legumes. Thinking of beans, lentils, and chickpeas are high in fiber and protein, making them excellent choices for managing your blood sugar levels. They can be added to salads, soups, and stews.
Pat, what about portions of foods to maintain a balanced diet that supports diabetes management?
Individuals should be mindful of portion size to avoid overeating, which can lead to spikes in blood sugar levels. You want to eat at regular intervals to help your body maintain steady blood sugar levels throughout the day. Drink plenty of water, avoid sugary drinks, and limit your intakes of fruit juices. Limit processed food. Reduce consumptions of processed and sugary foods as they can cause rapid increases in blood sugar levels.
Thank you, Pat, for providing some valuable insight and for joining us today. At Methodist Mansfield Medical Center, we offer various resources to help you manage your health, from diabetes education to support groups and nutritional counseling. We're here to support you every step of the way. Visit our website at methodisthealthsystem.org to learn more. I'm Angel Biasatti, reporting for the About Mansfield podcast.
Angela Hornburg is here to address home buying grants in the Mansfield Real Estate Market Update. Angela?
There's a lot of talk in the current market about home buying grants, but are they real? The good news is that they are real. And the even better news is that the often associated myth of them being for first-time home buyers is just that, a myth. There are grant programs for both multi-time home buyers as well as first-time home buyers. Right now, there are several loan options for grant programs. So what even is a grant anyway? There are 2 common types of grants. One is a true grant in which you will receive a forgivable loan of money you do not have to repay. This money can be used for a down payment or closing costs. Some grant programs can also be combined to offer the buyer the opportunity to purchase a home with little, if anything, out of pocket. The second grant is not a true grant, but we're calling it that for the sake of simplicity. It's a forgivable loan, but it really is a certificate that is forgivable if you live in the home for at least 3 years. If you sell before you've owned the home for 3 years, you would have to pay it back at the time you sell the home. Home buying grants are very real and readily available. It is important to note that not all lenders are approved to lend on grant programs, so be sure to ask around for recommendations for lenders that do. Home buying grants are very real and readily available. It is important to note that not all lenders are approved to lend on grant programs, so be sure to ask your favorite real estate professional for a lender recommendation, and they'll help direct you on how to make application. Speaking of which, how does someone go about getting a home buying grant? Once you have your local lender in place, it's a pretty easy process and typically takes 15 minutes or less. You will fill out an online application and the lender will reach out to you to go over options once they receive it. If you or someone in your life is wanting to purchase a home but you're a little short on cash, this is a great product to help you get into the American dream of home ownership. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Angela Hornburg, broker with One West Real Estate.
Shaken or stirred, you know it's going to be good as Brian Certain serves up a drink that's hotter than a political debate at the family Thanksgiving dinner in the cocktail of the week. Brian?
And this week's cocktail of the week is the salted caramel Irish coffee. The salted caramel Irish coffee is a modern twist on the classic Irish coffee, which in itself is a rather charming origin story. Legend has it is that Irish coffee was invented in 1943 by Joe Sheridan, a chef at Fournes Port near Limerick, Ireland. He added whiskey to coffee to warm up American passengers whose flight had just been turned back due to bad weather. When asked if it's Brazilian coffee, he quipped, "No, it's Irish coffee." Our salted caramel version takes this warming tradition and gives it a trendy, indulgent twist that's perfect for those chilly November evenings. And here's what you need to create this liquid hug in a mug. But always don't worry about getting and taking notes. I'll be giving out all the ingredients and instructions and posting them on bourbongospel.com. Ingredients: 1 cup of hot brewed coffee, 1 ounce of Irish whiskey, Jameson's or Bushmills work all the time, 1 ounce of salted caramel sauce, homemade or store-bought, whipped cream for topping, and additional caramel sauce and sea flakes for garnish. For a homemade salted caramel sauce, if you're so inclined, you're going to take a cup of granulated sugar, 1/4 cup of water, 3/4 cup of heavy cream, 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter, and 1 teaspoon of sea salt. Now let's walk through the process of creating this autumn-inspired pick-me-up. If you're making your own caramel sauce, start by combining sugar and water into a saucepan over medium heat. Cook until the sugar turns a deep amber color. Then remove from the heat and carefully stir in the cream, the butter, and the salt, and let it cool slightly. In a warm Irish coffee mug or a heat-resistant glass, stir together the hot coffee, the Irish whiskey, and the salted caramel sauce until well combined. Top with a generous dollop of whipped cream. Don't be shy, it's the holidays after all. And then drizzle with additional caramel sauce and sprinkle with a few flakes of sea salt. Now, why is this the perfect cocktail for our second week of Thanksgiving-themed cocktails? Well, pull up a chair and let me spill the coffee beans. First, it embodies the cozy, indulgent spirit of the holiday season. The combination of warm coffee and smooth Irish whiskey is like a hug for your insides, perfect for those chilly November evenings. The salted caramel adds a luxurious sweetness that's reminiscent of all those holiday desserts, so we can't wait to devour. It's like having your pie and drinking it too. The touch of salt cuts through the sweetness, providing a perfect balance, much like how Aunt Carol's dry humor cuts through Uncle Bob's long-winded stories at the dinner table. But perhaps more importantly, it's a versatile drink that can serve multiple purposes during Thanksgiving festivities. Need a pick-me-up to power through meal prep? Salted caramel Irish cream. Looking for a dessert drink to serve with pie? Salted caramel Irish coffee. Need something to keep you awake during the post-turkey football game? You guessed it, salted caramel Irish coffee. This drink is more than a beverage, it's a multitasking marvel. It's a caffeinated compilation that'll keep you going from the Macy's Day Parade all the way through your last slice of midnight turkey sandwich. Whip this up for your holiday gatherings and watch as your guests forget all about pumpkin spice lattes that they've been guzzling since September. It's the perfect way to toast to good food, good company, and the invention of a coffee machine. Next week, I'll be shaking up another Thanksgiving favorite, so make sure you tune in. Until then, happy mixing, enjoy responsibly, and remember, in life, as in this cocktail, it's important to maintain a healthy balance of sweet, salty, and spirited. As always, I'm open to hear your take and your input. You can reach me at brian@bourbongospel.com. And until next week, as Mark Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much whiskey is barely enough. Reporting for the About Mansfield podcast, I'm Brian Certain.
We're back in 60 seconds with Steve's in-studio interview with local author Tim Brys and his son Wylie.
Imagine a city where innovation knows no bounds, where dreams take flight, and the future unfolds before your very eyes. Welcome to Mansfield, a beacon of growth and a testament to vision. In the heart of Mansfield, a remarkable transformation is underway. But it's not just about the physical landscape. It's about the spirit that drives us forward. A spirit of collaboration that bridges cultures, a spirit of entrepreneurship that fuels prosperity, and a spirit of community that binds us as one. Mansfield is more than just a place. It's a canvas where diversity paints the picture of progress. From art festivals that ignite creativity to tech hubs that redefine boundaries, this city celebrates every voice, every passion. Mansfield, where growth knows no limits and the vision is limitless. Brought to you by the unstoppable spirit of the Mansfield Economic Development Corporation.
This is Randall Kennedy, and you're listening to About Mansfield.
Welcome back to another segment of About Mansfield. I'm Steve Casillo as we make the transition from news to talk. And in the studio today, we have a father and son team in the studio today. They are Tim and Wylie Brys. Tim is the father and Wylie is the 15-year-old son. First of all, welcome to About Mansfield.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Wylie, let's start with you for the first part of the interview because you made a discovery when you were 4 years old. So this would be 10, 11 years ago here in Mansfield.
Yeah.
And let's first talk about that discovery.
All right. So when I was 4, almost 5 years old, I was out fossil hunting with my dad at a local construction site looking for shark teeth and fossilized fish material. And I had wandered off a little bit to go look for other cool things. And I came back with a piece of rib bone and asked him what it was. And so then he told me to tell him where it was and like go take him to the spot where I found it because he knew it was something cool. And it turned out to be a dinosaur.
And when you say you wandered off, it doesn't mean you wandered off like 3 or 4 blocks. You were just like a couple of feet away, a couple of yards away.
So it was in there was a hill. There was a drop off.
Yeah,
and I was on the opposite side of the hill from where he was. So I was a good distance away, but still within eyesight.
You found a dinosaur.
Yes.
Well, you found part of a dinosaur.
Right.
A rib.
And after we excavated it, there were a few more pieces as well, including some vertebrae, some giant shoulder spikes off to the side, and the skull with, I think, teeth. A few teeth are still inside of it.
Yeah. What happened after that? So you started with the rib.
Yes.
Before the excavating happened.
Right.
And what was the next process? And Tim, maybe you can...
Yeah, so whenever he found it, because we were in a marine environment setting and we're looking for shark teeth and we were finding things from fish about, $50 sized fish vertebra and things like that had been on this scraped hillside. When he came back with that rib, I thought maybe he had found something from a plesiosaur, which is a marine reptile that's pretty big and has a really long, skinny neck. If you picture like Loch Ness Monster, what they think Loch Ness Monster might look like. And they found several of those in the DFW area. So
that's right, because we're talking 100 million years ago, Texas was underwater.
Yes, we had a big seaway that ran through the middle of Texas all the way up into Canada. And so you find a lot of great ocean fossils, ammonites and snails and clams and scallops and things. But along with them were mosasaurs and plesiosaurs and things that were feeding on those creatures. And then where you had coastline, you had dinosaurs. And occasionally dinosaurs would die and get washed out to sea and scavenged on. And so when he found this bone, I knew it was something cool. We went down to where he found it and found some more bones weathering out. I called my friend Gerald Bogan, who I worked with at the Dallas Zoo at the time. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, we should call the Dallas Paleo Society. They have a group called the FBI, which is the Fossil Bureau of Investigation.
Nice.
And they have kind of their experts of the group that come out and look at material and say, okay, this is worthwhile for a researcher to come out and possibly remove. And so they contacted SMU, and the professors from SMU came out to look at it and were interested in removing it. The next trick was that we had to get permission from the landowner to have it removed.
Oh, sure.
And the person selling the land for them wanted to make sure that they were protected liability-wise by anybody getting hurt on the site. So we had to get special paperwork. which took about 7 months. And during that 7 months, they cut a trench through the fossils, and a number of things happened to make us wonder if it would ever come out of the ground or if it would be sitting under a McDonald's dumpster pad because it was slated to be a McDonald's restaurant.
Which it currently is not.
It is not. That the restaurant fell through sometime during the construction process next door.
My mind is thinking that we do not tell the location because people might start going there looking for more, but
it's actually really unlikely to find any more there. What we found was really kind of a once in a lifetime thing. It is a marine environment, and I actually got to talk to the landowner who, as a little girl, used to go and find seashell fossils there. It should be ocean creatures that are there, if anything.
Okay.
And in the corner of the dig site, we did find some shark teeth, which makes me wonder if maybe it was getting scavenged on by sharks. But
now, Wylie, first of all, to the listeners, you're probably asking, well, why are you doing a story from 10 years ago? Well, there's more to the story, and you'll hear that later in the episode. Wylie, you were, again, 4 years old at the time. How much recollection do you have of this?
I have lost a lot of my memory of it, but I do remember many of the main details and kind of the excitement I felt when I realized that it was a dinosaur, even though I didn't fully understand how major the discovery was.
Yeah.
It was still...
and at that time, in 2014, you became pretty famous.
Yeah, for a little bit. It was on, I think, a few news channels.
Yeah, local newspaper, the local news stations, and then NBC had him on. I think it was David Muir said hello to him on TV, and then we started finding articles that had made their way around the world, and I think there was at least 30 some different countries where the story had made it that far because of his age mainly.
Sure. How did the Guinness Book of World Records get involved?
I think we contacted them.
Yeah, we. So I work at the Perot Museum of Nature and Science with their teaching collection, and we had a traveling exhibit that was the science of Guinness World Records. And I thought, he's most likely the youngest child. I should look into that. And so I started that thinking, well, it would be a nice PR tie-in for the museum if we can get this in time. But the process takes quite a long time. And there were a lot of pieces of evidence that we had to supply, letters from paleontologists and things like that. And in between each question that's asked, it's a 2 to 3 week time lag on hearing back from them. So it didn't happen till after the traveling exhibit was already gone, but it was still amazing. So,
Wylie, what kind of dinosaur did you find?
Nodosaur, a kind of nodosaur.
A nodosaur.
Yes, and it's much like an ankylosaurus. You might have seen it on like Jurassic Park. It's a big armored dinosaur on 4 legs. That the ankylosaur has a tail with a big club on the end that it swings around and hits things with.
Oh yeah.
But my nodosaur had big shoulder spikes and no club, so it would whip its tail around more like a whip.
You brought in a small sample of what a nodosaur?
So the ankylosaurs, it's just a branch of their family that's the nodosaurs. And actually, the professor who's working on writing this paper up said that just last year, somebody proposed dissolving the nodosaurs to where they're all ankylosaurs, I believe. So it may not be technically a nodosaur so much as an ankylosaur, but it's just a branch of their family without the club tail.
Looking at the little model that you brought in on the table there, it in a sense, because of its armor and its scales, it to me, a novice dinosaur person, I would think it would be very close to a stegosaurus. Would that?
So back in time, they think that might be the early ancestor to ankylosaurs.
Wow.
Kind of the earlier branch of the family tree, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. Tell me more about the nodosaur. now you found it in a sea and ocean type of environment. So my thinking is it's not a vegetarian. Oh, you're shaking your head. Yes, it is.
Yes, it was a vegetarian. They have kind of
Steve.
kind of leaf-like bladed teeth. I tend to wonder if, like hippos are vegetarians and they hang out near water and their bulk is kind of supported by the water helping them float. I kind of wondered if the armor plating and the bulk of their body, maybe they used water for somewhat of a defense. Maybe it was just happened to be near the water. Whatever happened, somehow it had died and floated out to sea. And if you've ever seen an armadillo on the side of the road sitting in the sun and how it kind of bloats up, it's gross, but it swells up and sometimes even rolls over from the gases. That's kind of what they think is this was out at sea, kind of bloated and floating there where scavengers could find it. There's a fair amount of material there, leg bones and vertebra and ribs, as well as the round osteoderms and the skull.
Now, our crack research department had also said that another nodosaur was found in Canada.
Yes, a beautiful nodosaur in a quarry, and sometimes they describe it as like a mummy. It looks like it just laid down and died, and it's not 100% complete, but there's a large percentage of it, and it's all very much intact, like it just laid down and went to sleep, including stomach contents where they could look at woody material it had been chewing on.
Interesting.
And it's, they think, a relative of this nodosaur. So one of the things that the professors at SMU are doing is laying out where in the family tree would this nodosaur be, because they believe it's a new genus and species.
Approximately the length of from toe to tail of a nodosaur.
Like a pony sized, I believe.
Oh, so not huge. Okay,
not super huge. At least this one. There's different types, but probably a little shorter than a pony. But
okay. So Wylie, if I were to open up a Guinness Book of World Records, would you be in it? And what would the category be?
Oh, I don't know what the category is necessarily, but I know that I am in the most recent one.
Yeah, the title is Youngest Person to Find a Fossil of an Unknown Dinosaur Species.
Of an unknown dinosaur species.
It was very specific. Yeah. I'm not sure how they came up with that, but...
Is there someone else than the youngest who has found a known species?
Maybe. I didn't notice anything in the book along with that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's, very specific changes to make a number of different categories in that. I know there's been lots of children that have found dinosaur tracks and marine reptiles and things that were very young, 3 or 4 years old. I believe there was a little girl in Great Britain just a few years ago that was 3 or 4 years old. Kids are often the ones out there exploring and close to the ground and taking time to look.
Well, Wylie, that was 11 years ago. Has your interest in dinosaurs still... Do you still have an interest in dinosaurs, or I see you're wearing a martial arts T-shirt. So, where are your interests now?
I still am interested in dinosaurs and fossils. I don't have that much time that I'm able to dedicate to going out and looking for fossils and things, mainly because of school.
Sure.
But I have also started doing karate fairly recently. Well, actually not. For about 2 years now, I've been doing karate.
What level belt are you?
I'm red belt.
Red belt. So red, you're only, 3 or 4 away from black belt?
Yes, yeah.
Nice.
Right here in Mansfield with the Bushokai.
Yes, yeah, the Bushokai up on FM 157 near Debbie Lane.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, we teased a little bit about it. Why are we doing a 10-year-old story? And the back half of this story then is that a book has been developed, and the name of the book is Wylie Finds a Dinosaur. Tim, tell me about the book.
I guess I saw a lot of kids spending time on their phones and tablets and screen time, and I thought, all of these children when they're young almost universally tend to like dinosaurs, tend to like getting out and exploring, spending time in nature. And I said, but I feel like things are changing to where people aren't spending as much time out in nature. And I thought, well, how can we inspire? At the museum, our slogan is inspiring minds through nature and science. I thought, well, what better way to inspire children to get back outside exploring than to say, hey, right here in this DFW area, a child found a dinosaur, and he's not the only child to find a dinosaur, and he's not the only amateur to find a dinosaur or some new species. There's a lot of cool things coming from the DFW area. So the goal was to write a book to get kids interested, excited about going outside again.
And what can people find inside the book? It's an illustrated book, and if you want to talk about the illustrator or the what's inside the cover.
Yeah, I'd love to. At the time when we found the dinosaur, I was still working at the Dallas Zoo, and I worked with a woman named Ann Huey who worked with volunteers, and who's also an amazing artist. And so when it was time to illustrate the book, I thought, she's just retired. This will help her bring income in and also be something really cool we can do together. And so she agreed to illustrate the book. And, she's hidden little things. I was kind of inspired by Mr. Mayer with the little spiders and things she hid throughout her little creatures books. Yeah. So she hid little dinosaurs and birds and also gnomes, because that was kind of an inside joke. We used to hide gnomes in her office. But so you'll see throughout the book, you can look through, as well as fossils. She put fossils, especially a certain page on the hillside. You can look at the fossils, and then in the back of the book, there's a key where you can kind of guide yourself through what these things are called. So as kids are going outside, they kind of know what they're finding, because it's frustrating as a kid or an amateur going out and finding really cool things, but you don't know what they are, what they looked like, or what they did. So the book follows the story of Wylie just being a kid, then finding the bone, then the whole process of calling the Gerald and the Paleo Society and the professors at SMU, and then the excavation of it, which was another whole process, transporting it to SMU to their lab. And then it took us about 10 years on and off of prepping out the bones. So I've been going in my free time and working on cleaning the bones.
Should we mention this is a children's book?
Yes, it is. It is definitely a children's book. Children's picture book, I think, is what it's listed as if you go to Barnes & Noble. But it was meant to inspire kids, get them back outside exploring with their families.
When my son was 4 years old, he could name off all of the dinosaurs. And of course, that interest went from dinosaurs to Power Rangers to often where. What age group are you looking to hit with the Wylie Finds a Dinosaur book?
Well, I think anywhere from, Wylie was going out with me when he was 3. I think anywhere from 3 up to, 10 is a good age. But even some of the older kids that I've read it to seem to still have an interest in it. I think it inspires them to be like, you know what, that could be me out there in the creek by my house, or, if you ask permission at construction sites, sometimes they're okay as long as you have a hard hat and a vest, or, as long as they're not working on the site.
Wylie, how do you feel about your name being on the cover of a book?
I feel pretty good about it. I'm glad it's being used for a good cause.
Yeah.
It's gotten me a little bit of attention at school, which I don't know how I feel about that. But
Dad, do you ever go to Career Day and say, I work for the Perot Museum. By the way, here's my book. Oh, yeah, that's my son sitting there over there. He's on the cover of the...
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I drag Wylie and his little brother Flynn to events with me. And because I think it's interesting for kids to be able to not only hear about the book and see the fossils up close from different local dinosaurs and marine reptiles, but also to meet the person, to know, oh, it really is a true story. He's sitting right here. Yeah. I also bring out a replica often of Papasaurus, which was another nodosaur found in this area by a kid and father. He was a little bit older, but still another marine environment setting, coastal area where you wouldn't necessarily expect to find it. But
are people still finding dinosaurs around at Granbury and at Fossil Rim? And
they're finding dinosaurs all over Texas. I'm not sure what all I'm allowed to talk about for what the museum's doing, but I can tell you that amateurs in the area, historically, there was a site called the Archosaur site, and they found Protohadrus, which was a dinosaur, a couple new crocodile species, new turtle species. A friend, Brad Carter's, found a new fish species.
Wow.
And these people are often having them named after them. Murray has a small dinosaur from Grapevine Spillway. He's got permission to be out there on a permit for the museum.
So then why wasn't this dinosaur named the Wylie-saurus?
They're working on naming it.
No kidding.
It's been in the process of getting it cleaned. A graduate student picked it up as one of 3 projects to get his PhD. He has since moved to upstate New York and has kind of moved past it. So with the coming out of the book, Louis Jacobs is working on picking that project back up and writing it. But because of new papers coming out, like whether or not nodosaurs are still a valid name, he's having to go back and redo some things, make sure that everything lines up with the things in Canada and with the things found locally. But they're looking at possibly naming it new genus and species and naming it after Wylie.
Wow. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That is very cool. Tim, where can people find the book?
It's on Amazon.com. Some of the Barnes and Nobles around here have it. A lot of the nature centers and museums have also picked it up. One of our paleontologists said she was down in Big Bend and saw it in their gift shop all the way down there, which was pretty cool. It's Great Texas Line Press. If you're wholesaling books, but Amazon is probably one of the easiest places, or sometimes we'll do book signings and have copies there too.
Okay. Just look up Wylie Finds a Dinosaur, and it's a hardbound, good size looking book. It's not, your typical 8.5 by 11. It's a little larger than that.
We did hardcover because I knew how hard my kids were when they were little on books, and I wanted it to stand up to kids. So,
Wylie, you're 15. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm thinking of going into engineering, most likely. But as a backup, I'm thinking some kind of biology, like marine biology maybe, or zoologist or something like that.
There you go. Following Dad's footsteps.
Yeah. And
mom.
Yeah.
And mom too.
Mom still works at the zoo. She's been there 22 years.
Yeah, I think so.
She worked with animals for a long time and then just recently switched to the nutrition center. So she makes diets for all the animals around the zoo.
It's very cool. Wylie Finds a Dinosaur. Again, available Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Do you have any book signings coming up you want to promote?
We do. Dogwood Canyon Audubon might be our next book signing that we have coming up. But I was just talking on the phone on the way here. Denton Barnes & Noble wants us to set up a date either in December or January. It's just I do a lot of weekend events for the museum as well, so it makes it tricky. And karate tournaments.
Nice. We'll keep Keep going for that black belt. My son stopped, I believe it was one level below a black belt, and never got there. So I think both dad and son are kind of kicking ourselves like, well, it could have been, but
we could always go back.
That's true. That's true. Tim Brys, Wylie Brys, appreciate you being on About Mansfield. And Wylie Finds a Dinosaur. Go out and buy the book. And, congratulations, number one, on being in the Guinness Book of World Records. Congratulations on writing a book and publishing a book.
Thank you.
And again, thanks for being on About Mansfield.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's been very fun.
Coming up next week on About Mansfield, we will talk in studio with yet another fine Mansfield resident. You'll just have to tune in to find out who it is. In the meantime, this is the place where you'll hear the latest Mansfield news, talk, and information. Until then, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, engage, connect, amplify, elevate, celebrate, embrace, explore, share, love, or support this podcast if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. It's free and it's easy. Head on over to our website, aboutmansfield.com. Right there on the homepage, enter your email address. We will never, ever, 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 ever send you any spam. We promise.
About Mansfield is recorded at Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio. Hosts Steve Casillo and Colleen Daniel. Moment with the Mayor feature Michael Evans. Methodist Mansfield News to Know Angel Biasatti. Mansfield Real Estate Market Update Angela Hornburg. Cultural Arts Calendar Tim Roberts. Cocktail of the Week Brian Certain. Post-production editing, mixing, and mastering, Steve Casillo and Andrew Miner.
This podcast is copyrighted by Podcast Mansfield Recording Studio for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this podcast without written consent is prohibited. We thank you all for listening. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Steve Casillo, and this is About Mansfield.